Hello, this is On the Scene Live here at the Alberta Abbey. I'm Carissa Des.
I'm Pretty Leon, and we're here with...
The Incredible. No, I shouldn't say
Incredible.
that.
That works. That
One
works.
and
No,
only.
run with that.
It is.
One and only.
Hardest working man in showbiz.
Yep.
That's right. There you go.
This is JP right here at
right.
the Alberta Abbey.
Yes.
And just activating some great music and entertainment and just happy to be with these two
Yes, sir.
young people.
Oh,
tell
thank
us-
you for
tell us
calling
what
me
this-
young.
Just getting the word out about the Alberta Abbey. This is
That's what
something
we do.
new. So
Yeah, we just started working together to do interviews here with the amazing artists that come through to put a spotlight on the art in
This is
Portland.
actually the
prop up the community.
the first place we actually did interviews together, actually in the
Oh,
basement.
yeah, it was.
That's where it started. Des was like, yo, give me my co-host today. And I was like...
I was like, do you want to do interviews
I was
with
like,
me?
okay. Like I got down there. I was like, maybe I'll just try it. And it was like, it's like magic. So, no,
Yeah.
JP, tell us a little about the show that you got here today. Tell us about who you brought in. Tell us about your history and
Well,
creative.
let's start with one. Let's start with the history. So, like, how did you first get involved with this place?
well, real quick, we're going to make this short version of the story.
Yes, sir.
I work with the Jack London and the Rosen Theater, those guys.
Legendary place.
Yeah, Wonder Ballroom, and I've been doing that for a while.
Okay, that makes
Okay.
sense.
I am actually from this neighborhood, and I got
Shout out.
introduced through, shout out to Nicholas Harris and those guys at the Jack London, to the Alberta Abbey, which is in my neighborhood. I live about 6 blocks away from here,
Word, okay.
which is
Okay.
incredible.
So you-
That's an easy walk. Yeah.
It's such a beautiful thing, and you know how some things just feel like you're in the right place at the right time. They're
Yep.
meant to
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
Exactly.
I was at
That's how we
Botanist.
feel right now.
Yeah, well, I was just short story. I was at Botanist. We created a new event space and kind of a nightclub in the Pearl District on the rooftop.
okay.
So
Okay.
that's where I left
Oh.
after. Yeah, that's after Jack London shut down.
That was the one place I wanted to go to. And I think they kind of had one little show, but everybody was hit pretty hard with COVID. So
Yeah, it was.
a lot of
And
places closed
it
down in
was a
Portland.
Tough build out for a new venue during COVID, but
Yeah.
it showed a lot of what Portland can do to come together to support something when things are shut down. When the music
Word.
shut down at the Jack London, I was like, oh my God, no
Yeah,
music.
there's a legendary venue shutting down like that. Like,
is.
you know
Yeah.
it's bad.
It is. And
No,
it
it's
really
bad.
came to reality after about 2 or 3 months. And so from going to creating the Botanist, and then, of course, that ended because of the rain and the fact that they wanted to come in and build condominiums in a place that has
Oh,
so
gentrification,
many-
of course.
Pretty much is what happens. But I was blessed 2 months later to find this place and get
Wow,
introduced.
okay.
And that's where we've been. And this is a historic 100-year-old facility.
Yeah, yeah.
Used to be a
Black
church,
church.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I call it a black church because
It is
that's
a
how
black
I've known
neighborhood.
it from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s.
Did you go to church
in our
here?
community. I actually didn't. I went to Vancouver Avenue Church, which is
Okay.
down, down the way by Emmanuel Hospital. But these are the two most historic black churches. They've both been inducted into the Historical Society as places
That's
of
so
importance
cool.
to the
That's
black
so
community.
cool. Yeah.
Just the history here is amazing, and where we are right now with gentrification, with
yeah.
Black Lives Matters, with
Standing as a monolith out here.
Antifa, with everything that's going on. This is really kind of like a lightning rod and a nexus where people can actually come together.
Everybody
in the
comes
community.
together. Yeah.
It is. That's what we
Beacon of
stand
light,
for.
kind of.
It's sanctuary. That's what
All
I call
powers
it.
unite.
It's a
Here at
sanctuary.
the Alberta Abbey in Portland, Oregon.
Glad to have these two here now
Yes,
to
sir.
help spread the word of what's
That's right.
going on here at
Definitely,
Alberta Abbey.
definitely.
Please
Especially
stay
through the
outside.
music.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of
No, we're gonna-
conversations here, so be ready. And then the other question that Leon had was
Me.
we were wondering about the artists that you had here tonight. Like, if you could tell us a little bit about them.
I can definitely make some comments about
Shout
that.
out some
I'm really
comments, yeah.
proud to have an unbelievable young lady. Her name is Victory Boyd.
Mm-hmm.
She's really making her way up in this industry, and she's just has a real feel for music, all types of genres. She can sing anything: gospel, blues, jazz, and she's just blessed with her message and her presence. And we were just lucky to get her because she was actually programmed to go to San Francisco, I think, coming down from
Oh.
Seattle.
Okay,
So
so
we
it's
got
kind of like
lucky.
a
Yeah, it's
a
a,
little
programming
surprise,
thing. If
yeah.
you get lucky, somebody's coming through and they have some time to stop over.
Yeah.
Being a new venue, we get lucky that way. We try to find out people who are going to be in the area.
Okay.
Because it's hard to compete with the big boys, but we're a nonprofit, so support what we're doing
Yep.
and bringing
Don't
these
worry,
new artists.
this will be a big boy place one day. It already is.
It is. It is already. I've been to a lot of
shows.
I've been to a lot of shows here already.
Me too, actually.
You said it was a new venue, but I wouldn't know because I didn't really start popping out to shows until after COVID or after the lockdown. So I just assumed that it had been around for a while. So it's a pretty. So when did it open? How long has it been?
We
around
opened
for?
actually pre-pandemic.
Okay.
We opened up, I think, a year before COVID. But, you know, what was that, 2019, I think? And
You only had a year, before everything closed.
barely
down
a
again.
year. And I mean, believe me, we had to put in over $1 million, the owner that bought this place, just to get the plumbing, the
Wow.
lighting.
Just
Just
It's just a functioning venue. I mean, it's a 100-year-old facility.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But you guys have been around it. It's almost like Disneyland.
Yeah.
There's so many areas.
There's so many. There's like 2 little concert spots.
like
There's a
office spaces
balcony,
upstairs.
office
I saw some
spaces. The
office
balcony's
spaces.
beautiful, and also
I was
there are a
just up
couple
there.
of really cool spots where we could do interviews in like the VIP room and like the green room
It's like
and
multiple
everything.
spots.
Yeah.
But anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's
So much
just-
space here.
It's just really amazing that the opportunity we have to do classroom programming, teaching music, voice lessons, production, what you guys do. That's our really goal, is to activate programming for the youth. I mean, and really tying the community. And then also the music venue part of it is bringing concerts and, you know, larger national acts, but giving our talent in our community a chance to perform on a stage like this.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
That's a
what's
really nice
important.
venue too. I don't know if most people that I talk to, you know, they know what it looks like. They kind of, but you got to really come here to see how nice it really is. Like it's such a vast space and it sounds really good. Like that's a big
Yeah, the
thing. It's
sound
like,
is
there's
really
not-
good
there's-
here. Yep.
You can't get that reverb. You can't get that church reverb in any venue.
Anywhere else but a church.
Yo, it's exactly. And it's like it's this is a place that's curated specifically for that sound. So it's like you can't beat that. Like I love putting church
It's
reverb
like a
on my
very
songs when I'm
rich,
producing
like
and stuff. You know?
rich, full sound that you get here.
It is.
Definitely.
And the other thing is that just the spirit of what's gone on here in this space. I mean, being a 100-year-old facility, the weddings, the funerals,
Yeah, wow.
you know, just the baptismals,
Yeah.
The concerts.
The genuine energy.
And honestly, like
community.
it has a very like positive energy about it.
And so you just have to study the history. Like I said, pre-60s, you know, there literally wasn't any black people living in the area.
Really? Pre-60s?
Pre-60s.
Interesting, because I would
40s,
assume.
50s, 60s.
Yeah.
Black people were redlined, so they were living
Right.
on the other
Oh.
side of Fremont.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
And then
Word,
before,
word.
like a little bit before that, black people weren't even allowed like in the city too. Right?
1920, was it 1922 or
Yeah,
something
in the
like that?
early
They were-
1900s.
So
yeah.
speaking to that, that's an interesting story because this church started in 1923.
Oh.
Okay.
And the
so is it kind
idea
of like a
was-
haven?
No, I mean, it's just funny because
community.
it's like when they wrote the Constitution. They didn't really write the Constitution for everybody.
No, absolutely not.
The guys that
Sure.
were writing the Constitution were writing it for
For
themselves.
the rich
Oh,
white
yeah,
people.
yeah.
But what they didn't know is that later on in America's history, Italians, Asians, black
Irish.
people, everybody would come here with the promise of we're all created as one, we're all equal. And that's what America
Pursuit
was
of
supposed to
happiness.
be.
Right.
And so I think a lot of people are kind of surprised that like when they talk about the Constitution and other people want to say that the Constitution is for all of us, but some people don't see it that way.
Oh no, I definitely don't.
And so I think the founding fathers might be a little uncomfortable with what they did, but they did the right thing.
Sure.
And that's how Divine Intervention works. And so it's the same thing here at the Alberta Abbey. When they started this, they really truly said they wanted a place for all people of all walks of life to come and worship together, which was unheard of. It was illegal. And
Interesting. So is it
Yeah.
trying to be a multicultural?
they were trying
center?
to be that, but I don't know if they were talking about the culture.
They actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if they knew that this was going to be a black community at the end.
Yeah, probably
But-
not.
Their ideas
One can
were
hope.
true into this day is something that we can stand on because they wanted this to be for all faiths, all colors, and it is. That's what we can do now. We got the opportunity to make that happen
We've
now.
seen very
really cool.
diverse shows. A lot of it's a very diverse cast of people that have come through here, and also very kind people.
Yeah.
Like it's never been anything but kind people. So
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I've
I'm
gone to a
appreciative of
noise
that.
show here before where it
Noise
was like
show?
a noise show. It was just so loud and it was just like weird, a bunch of weird noises. I was like, this is interesting, you know? But then I've also like gone to, you know, this type of show tonight where it's like a singer-songwriter type vibe. So you really have a good range here of different artists and also people in general.
We really want to make sure we have something for everyone in the community that can feel connected through the music. And that's what gets conversations started.
Yep.
Because if we don't find something that's common ground, for me, it's food and music.
Yeah.
I've never
Those
found
are-
anybody
those are
that
my
gets
two.
mad. I know.
Two favorite things. I
I
think
won't
it's
say
pretty common.
cocktails, but you know, because that can turn sour later. But food and
Off
music,
the record.
everybody's always together when you
Yeah.
do that, and it's just a special relationship when you hear your band and you're with your people and it's your artist playing.
Sure.
It makes the
Definitely.
conversations easier, and hopefully
Truly.
this will ignite conversations that we should be having.
Yep.
Food,
and
music,
for us to
good
get to
weather,
know each
baby.
other. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I just want to bring our community together through that. So
Well, we appreciate you, and we're glad to be working with you to, you know, push
Thank
this
you for having
message
us.
and like, you know, bring diversity, more diversity to the community and
Exactly.
We'll
inclusivity.
spread the good word.
Yeah.
it is. Well, remember, elevate unity. That's what we do here.
Elevate
Alberta
unity.
Abbey, our two nonprofits, teaming up to really be a special place for this community. Okay, support us.
Yep. Make
All
sure
right.
you support.
And
Are you
support
gonna have
these
any?
two.
Thank you. Are you planning on having any like fundraisers or anything like that for the Abbey?
Yes. So
Beneficial.
right now we're in the middle of Black Music Month, and
Yeah.
so we have Alonzo Chadwick and Ronnie Wright, two unbelievable male vocalists. They sing gospel, they sing soul, they sing blues, R&B, but they're next level. Close to getting a record deal themselves, a national record
Okay,
deal.
they're on their way up.
They'll be here the last of the 30th of the month.
Yeah, we'll
and
be
then that's the one you guys are definitely going to be here.
Yeah.
And
June
then we
30th,
also
you
have
said
the
for that
Turning
one?
Point.
Okay.
You know about Turning Point.
Tipping Point
Tipping
with
Point. I always say
John
that.
Meyer. John Meyer, the homie John Meyer. He's been working on this for like 3 years now. So, and now I think he put it out to the public, but he's not just releasing it, but is it like a release party or?
It is a release.
It is.
It's
Okay.
a release of the
okay.
documentary.
I think he had like a soft opening for it before. I think
Yes.
that's what it was. Okay.
This is the official release of that documentary, and I hear it's just riveting. The event interviews and just the footage they got of the protests, the riots.
Really? Wait a
It's
second.
That's
all
what it's
about that.
about. It's all about the
did not know
protests.
that.
Yeah.
It's all about the protests when it got shut down.
Wow,
Yeah, when
that's
we
great.
shut
I
down
wanted to
the-
see that.
You guys don't miss that.
We're probably in it. I mean, allegedly.
No, I'm not.
Allegedly.
I never did any of that ever.
On the spot.
I've never
we in
been
it?
there before.
Well, look,
I'm actually new here. I've never
Yeah.
been before.
If I'm not, I'd be surprised if I wasn't it. But anyway,
I'm going to sign out because I see a beautiful face that's right here, stage right.
There we
and
go.
we want to make sure we get this unbelievable artist a chance to have a chance to let you guys know what it's like to be here at the Alberta Abbey. Okay?
Right.
Definitely.
Right,
Thank you
guys.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Jake.
you,
all right,
guys.
take care.
Signing
having
off.
me.
Yo, I'm pretty Leon. We here at the Alberta Abbey right now on the scene live.
I'm Carissa Des, and we are here with our very special guest.
My name is Victory.
Great.
And
Victory.
thank you for being here. We just watched your show, and it was amazing. Your voice is just gave me goosebumps.
Sounds beautiful. I mean, I'm sure you played and done music in multiple churches throughout your life, but I'm sure you know how beautiful a church hall sounds. You know, musically. I was like, oh yeah, it's gotta be.
Yeah.
Like I was like, you can't beat the sound of a church and stuff. So I'm assuming you grew up in, you know, that was kind of like your.
Did you grow up in the church?
You know, I did, but most of my singing was not in church, though. I grew up singing in a community choir.
Oh, okay. Word. Yeah.
My
yeah.
parents founded in Detroit,
Okay.
and we sang all kinds of music.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then later on, we moved to the New York area, and we would sing in Central Park.
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
that's what I saw. Like I did a
Yeah.
little bit of research.
Yeah, we did some research.
Yeah, this was
Yeah.
Central
and
Park.
you were in the choir, the group with your siblings too, right?
Exactly.
That's so cool
beautiful.
that you got to
Yeah.
travel and make art with your family.
Yeah, yeah.
sure.
You know, it's been a lifetime of dedication
Yeah.
to this craft.
I think I watched an interview with you recently where you said that you've been doing this since you were 4. Like you started your career when you were 4 years old.
Exactly.
That's wild.
Believe it
Yeah.
or not. Yeah.
Yep. I believe it. So have you been in the choir since you were 4? Or
Yeah, that's how it started. Just singing in the choir at 4 years old, trying to hold my own.
Yeah. Word. Okay. So are any other artists that you started out with in the choir? Are they doing anything as like big as you are, or like? What?
Well, my brothers and sisters.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
They're thriving.
Thriving. Okay. We like to hear that. That's beautiful.
Are they
That's
still working together, or is it more like solo things? Or
All the above. Yeah.
okay,
Oh,
very
okay.
cool. Just like they're all about music.
Exactly.
Nice. Do you ever tour with them still? Or?
You know, I haven't been on tour in general in a minute.
Word, yeah.
The last tour I was on was with my brothers and sisters. And
Okay.
so now that this album is out, I'm starting to tour as an individual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
all right.
y'all must get along pretty well if you're able to tour
Yeah,
around
I
all the
was
time
saying.
together
I mean,
She's like,
for the most part.
Sometimes, yeah.
I mean, brothers and sisters, it's never perfect, but
Yeah.
that's great that you're able to like tour around with them and make it happen.
yeah, we make it work when we need to.
Definitely. So, how was the music scene in Detroit when you were younger? Because I know, like, it must be
Or even
different than
now,
like than the
honestly,
hip.
I'm
Yeah, it
curious.
must be different from the hip hop scene. The type of music that you create, the scene that you're in is probably a lot different from the hip hop or like punk scene. So I'm just curious what it's like in Detroit. Like,
Yeah. Detroit is the home, the birthing place of a lot of iconic artists and
Yeah, yeah.
musicians.
definitely.
You have Stevie Wonder, you have Marvin Gaye,
Yep.
Aretha Franklin. Like, how from one
So many
city
good ones.
do you have so many trailblazers? Like, you
Yeah.
don't even have that many trailblazers in
Portland.
certain continents.
Right.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I mean, seriously,
That's
though.
true.
Yeah, I always wonder about that. I'd be talking about that sometimes because, like, the Midwest in general, like, everyone, I saw this list and it's like every single big pop artist or even artist across R&B, whatever, came from the Midwest.
They started there at least, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Michael
it's
Jackson,
like certain
Ray,
countries and continents
Yeah. Not
don't
even
have even
half the
Right.
roster.
Yeah.
exactly. So
I wonder why that is. Maybe it's like they had a lot to write about because they, it was hard growing up in the big city or something like that. Or like even in like the Midwest, there's just not a whole lot going on and like life is hard. So they have more to create, like more to work with creatively. Do you
Well,
think
I feel like
that's
it's like
what it is?
a heavy, I mean, the number one thing that I've seen consistent with like very talented singers and artists in general is growing up in church, like growing up like singing gospel, because it's like you learn like soul, like you learn how to sing soul, you learn how to like like these kids can sing better than most like adults can at the time they're like 10 years old. And
Yeah.
so I've seen
Yep.
like every time I talk to a new artist who can sing really well or whatever, I'm like, did you grow up in church? Like did you grow up like singing in church? Because most of them really did. And I think that's like in the Midwest, I think it's like a very heavy, like it's an area that there's a lot of like, religious, that kind of thing. So I think that might be, partially that. I don't know.
it's a partial reason. There are churches all over the world,
Yeah.
and people that sing in churches all over the world.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean,
what-
also, yeah, I feel that. Yeah.
Here's what I believe.
Yeah.
It's not just church. It's the presence of the hope of glory in the midst of darkness.
Okay.
When you look at all the atrocities, all the hardships, and all the resistance that is specifically in the city of Detroit. I was just in Detroit two days ago.
Yeah.
It's an oppression.
Yeah.
And so anybody that is in that oppression and then holds on to the hope of glory.
Okay.
The scriptures describe Jesus as the hope of glory. So in church, a lot of people go to church, but not everybody grabs hold of the hope of glory.
Yeah. Okay.
And then when you see actual, like all these stars, like you see glory manifested in where they
that's okay.
turn out to be.
That's glory, like the
it's like
the pinnacle of
that's the
starting.
manifestation of
Okay. So it could be. So if somebody was like, you know, wanted to be like a really world-renowned doctor, like them dreaming about that and then reaching that. That's the glory for that. Could be the glory for them.
Yeah. It's like they're grabbing onto this hope of glory.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In the midst of their darkness.
Yeah.
So
Right.
then they start. So then them holding on to it, they start to shine more and more and more until they break through all the oppression and they're just radiantly glowing.
Yeah.
Man.
It might be their song. It might be there's so many athletes that come from these places too. Whatever it is. Like I'm of the belief that for every point of darkness, there's a corresponding point of glory. That's waiting to happen when you have your hope.
Okay.
When you hold on to the hope of glory.
Okay. You
It's
know?
like, I believe
that makes a lot
too,
of sense.
because out of hardship, and like, you know, when you triumph over all these obstacles and stuff, like I feel like you just come out, you know, so much more triumphant and just like it's so much more like there's so much more to it when you make it over that.
Right.
But many people don't.
Yeah,
is
and
the
that's
thing.
another thing.
Because they're not holding on to hope that this is
A lot of people give up. And it's always such an amazing story when you hear of somebody growing up in like a third world country and like working their way up and now they're like famous in the US. Like that, it doesn't come easy. You have to work hard your whole life to get there. But then you have people who were born into money and they have it easy. They don't have a struggle. And they're like, yeah, I'll record some music, but it's not like, it's not the same.
They're not, it's not glory.
Right.
That's not, because it was never, it never had to overcome darkness. It didn't swallow up darkness. You know, it's just your normal life. You know what I mean? Like, so
definitely. So how do you feel that, did you feel like any like alienation or anything like in your community for your beliefs and like, because like, you know, not everybody in the music scene, especially like, you know, hip hop and like, I mean, I guess you're not hip hop, but like singer songwriters, like, you know, there's not a whole lot of like religious, like artists that are out there, like, you know, touring and stuff like that. Have you ever like had any pushback or anything like that in your life?
Yeah, but like, if you just go along to be agreeable with everybody, you'll lose yourself. Anybody that's doing anything significant, they have something to say. Exactly. You push the boundaries.
That's what we always talk
own
about.
path too. Like you have your
you
own.
stop asking for permission to be yourself, and you just be, and you let the chips fall where they may. But the more that you believe in what you're doing, the more you have the ability to convince other people to also believe in what you're doing. And
right.
so
and then influence them to
exactly.
something similar.
So you got to start taking the chances and believing in this message and in this music, and that's what I'm here to do. You know?
Yeah, I think a lot of artists like here, you know, locally and even beyond are too careful. They're like, I don't want to make the wrong moves. So they're like, I'm going to plan out every single thing. But I think to actually, you know, get the attention and like, get bigger, I guess you would say, and to influence more people, which is
To
the
reach
goal,
people too,
you know,
like
to reach
to reach
people and
audience.
influence and everything. I think you do have to set yourself apart and, and go like do your own thing too, because and also I always say like jump out of the nest and fly. Like
your first audience isn't going to be
so-
your main audience. And that's what I always talk about. It's like the first audiences you perform in front of aren't most likely. There are probably like one or two in there that are like, yo, I remember I was at your first show. But like your first audience, like you got to go find your people by exposing yourselves to different avenues and venues and different things.
Sure.
Because it's like there's all the people out there that probably need to hear your message. And they're probably not your like local friend group because I've already heard your message. You know, it's like there's plenty of people out there that need to hear, you know, the stuff that you have to offer musically, artistically, and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I've heard, you know, stories and like interviews from a lot of like celebrities and pop stars and everything. And a lot of times they talk about how they were bullied when they were in high school.
That's
and
darkness.
like people in their hometown hate them and like are jealous of them and everything.
Or try to kill them even.
Well,
There's
and then
people
as soon as they become popular, and then everybody reaches back, of course.
Yeah.
But but yeah, it's, these are the people who are in the spotlight and who are making waves are the ones who are like, I don't, they didn't care like what box society had
They
to put
were
them in.
defiantly themselves.
Exactly.
And that's what I always say, that, a true artist is one that decides to be themselves defiantly against all of the trends. Because like the way the world is set up is, they want to condition us all to think alike and to act alike. And if you stick out too much, you're automatically kind of like beat into submission.
You're crazy.
Yeah, they're like, wait a second, you like yourself? No, we ain't doing all that.
Yeah,
we ain't playing that.
Cancel culture, all the pressure, all the.
Sure.
And so most people assimilate. The ones that don't
safe.
are artists, real artists.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or like good artists.
I mean, regardless of your actual craft, that the fact that you have the courage to be yourself, that alone gives you a unique edge to
100%.
rise above 95% of the people.
That's,
True.
I always hear
Yeah.
like producers talking about like, yo, if you're doing something different, you're already fucking above like there's eons above like so many different people. Like, cause everybody's trying. A lot of people are. I mean, more like, not to knock people necessarily, but there's people that are really trying to like fit into a mold. They're like, oh, I see this artist doing this.
I want to be exactly like them because they made it. But.
So when you take a step beyond that and you're like genuinely coming from a place, like that's your own and special to you, it's like you already are beyond, like 95%, maybe even more of people, because they just hear what they like. I just hear so often like on social media. It's like this person made this song, so now there's like 50,000 copycats trying to do the same thing.
Like,
and
and they make
really
their
silly.
own genre, but the person who like created that genre is the
Pioneer.
one the pioneer is
Took
the
the
one.
risk.
Yeah,
The one that was like, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I really think that there's a point in an artist's life where they're like, they start to get a certain amount of popularity, but then they're like thinking, like if I do this thing, if I take this opportunity, I'm gonna miss out on money. So I think, there's this like weighing, like, is it worth it? And then, to go in all the way. I think that's like the only way to really, take off.
Money
too.
will
Well,
come.
I will just say that money is important, but it cannot be your master.
Yeah, I mean,
That's-
we need to have a house and food if
bills.
we can. Yeah, but
Some people, because I need a house and I need to have food, so
Get into
therefore
it.
they submit to certain things just because of money, and it's like that makes money your master.
Yeah,
And,
100%.
and even for basic things, and I'm like, it's the true artists, because first of all, if money's your master, you're not going to be an art. You're not going to make it. You're going to be like, I need to go get a job, and
Trying
I
to
need
assimilate.
Exactly. You're going to be. And jobs are good, it's good.
Yeah, good for you.
yeah, don't quit your job.
Take
Don't
care of
quit your
your
day
family.
job until you can afford to
Yeah,
pay your bills
Maybe
with your
take that
art.
leap. I don't know.
Yeah,
Sometimes
that's
you-
what I'm saying. There's this like point, and
I'm just saying, like you have to believe in it to the point where you'll take risks. I mean, that's been my journey my whole life. It's just like the risks of, because I believe so much that I got to take the actions that prove it. And yeah, money always followed, but it wasn't like my driving force. My driving force is like, it's got to be the message and the dedication to delivering the message through excellent art, and like submit to that over, okay, what can get me the most dollars.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually am in kind of a predicament myself, and my boss probably isn't watching, but I have the opportunity to interview this artist who's like on my playlist, who I really appreciate as an artist. But I also have this job where I can get paid $200, but it's like, it's not my passion. So I'm like at that, that turning point, or like that fork in the road too, And for me, I'm like, am I going to do what I'm passionate about, or am I going to make money? Because I need the money. So I think, to become a good artist, you kind of do have to just choose your passion and just like go for it and be poor for a little bit. Sometimes.
No,
I mean, not all the time, but a lot of times.
People always say that. I mean, whenever because I'm a producer myself, I mainly produce. Like that's what I do is I make, compose music, produce music, beats, whatever. And like a lot of the most successful producers that I watch, like Pharrell and 808 Mafia, all these different huge producers, they all say, if you focus on the money, you're not gonna get any. The money's gonna be gone. You gotta focus on the craft, and the money will fall on your lap. And that's the craziest thing is I've experienced that on multiple occasions where like I was just doing what I loved. Like I used to host a music festival, and it was like a benefit show. It was all for charity and stuff like that. But when I was just like doing it just for the love of music and just for the love of having people around, I'd make like $6,000, but I donate it. But it's like the money comes when you're not going after it. The money runs when you start chasing it. That's when the money runs. When you're just doing what you love and people see that, then that's when the money comes.
Right.
And, you just gotta believe that it's gonna be there.
Yep. Was there ever a point in your life where you were at kind of like a crossroads where you're like, do I work a 9 to 5 or do I go and do my craft and figure out how to make money? Or was it you grew up in a family of artists, so you've always been doing art. But was there ever a point where you were like, do I go on tour or do I stay here and like get married and like work this job? Was there ever something similar like that in your life, in your career?
For me, for the most, I guess I had a fork in the road like a couple years ago when I had to make a decision to focus on my family's music or my music.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah. So that was a fork in the road, and I had to bet on myself that there's a message and there are songs that I have.
Sure.
That if I neglect, the world's gonna miss them, and I need to be dedicated to that. And so it was tough because it's like, oh, you're gonna be dedicated to your craft more than you're dedicated to your own family, and so that was like a fork in the road. But yeah, all is well.
But I feel like, if you are in that position, I think the people around you will understand. If they really care about you, they'll be like, okay, you're following your dream and this is what you feel called to do. And I think it's like, making these big decisions that are so hard where you're like, I have no idea what to do. Like not only like following your heart, but like also like, figure out what your calling is, but also like think about it analytically too. People are like, oh, just follow your gut, but it's like it's a little bit of following your gut and also, being analytical about it too. Like,
yeah. For me, so many things you could have never calculated in my career and how things have turned out, and so I describe it as more than following my gut, but I really ask God, because I believe that, these songs that I'm doing, they're it's his message, and he has a plan. And so, Lord, show me where to go and show me what to do and give me the money to do it. And all the things. And really, like, he does it every time and sends the people. And like, maybe not all the time the way that I thought it should have been done, but
that's usually how it manifests. Though it's always in like a different.
Yeah, it's always surprising. Yeah,
this is a different way, but it's like not bad. Like I could do this, Yeah, if it's there,
Right, and so you kind of just respond to what it's like. People say, if life gives you lemons, then you make lemonade.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I mean that's always going to be true.
Exactly.
So basically, I was gonna ask because I saw most of the music. I feel like the end segment was less. Is that a dog? There's a dog.
Oh yeah, I think it's.
So I was just like, I was wondering. So do you feel like because like oftentimes I talk to artists about like soul and stuff like that, and like is there like how would you describe soul for you from like a religious perspective? Like is that something that you feel like is that like do you feel like God or like a higher power is coming through you when you're like soloing or doing that kind of stuff? Because I always have been curious about what that means to different people because I don't personally have a definition for it, but I'm always curious to hear, other people's perspectives on it, because it's real, it's there, and it's like it's something that comes out when you're writing music.
That made me remember my question.
Yeah. So I think the scientific definition of soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
kind of the
all
whole
right,
package. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you could have gone through life and your mind have a certain belief system, and then your emotions can be damaged. They could be healthy. It could be any range of things, and then your will. It's like your authority to choose, and your desire is connected to your will as well. So all three of those things. That's you and your humanity. Right? And then there's the spirit. It's just like the spirit. There are different spirits, right? And so you can tap into the spirit realm.
No, I feel like that's real, because I feel like I've studied a lot of, like, interestingly enough, demonology and stuff. Not like I'm like just like I've never been religious, or like I've been more agnostic my whole life. Like I've been like, I don't really know what's going on, but I've studied a lot of people falling from faith, or like wavering from like belief and spirit and this kind of thing, and then like actually undergoing demonic possession and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's real.
Actually undergoing
real.
like really serious stuff like that. And I've always been like, like I don't like that. I don't want to play with that. And it's like I also don't really know, what I would want to welcome in my life. So I'm kind of just in neutral ground and stuff.
I've talked to several artists, doing this, and a lot of people say when they're in the studio, it's like they let this kind of spirit take over them, whether it's like the spirit of Christ or whatever, but they're like, oh, I just feel like I'm this vessel for the music.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of people saying that. They're like, once I walk into the studio, it's like it's not even me anymore. Like something takes over.
Yeah, it's so real. And the reason being is because God created us to be in union with His spirit. If you don't choose to be in union with His spirit, you can choose another one, but it's like that capacity and that ability is within each of us. And so honestly, people that only make music from a technical perspective, only from
well, actually, I know this theory here, and I'm gonna
it's all about what you know and what they're way limited.
Yeah.
1-6-3
chord progression will actually work if I transpose it here. And I'm like,
and then but like if there's some people who just sing, and you can tell that, like, I don't know. It's almost like
a strange place.
Yeah. It's coming from somewhere.
I've definitely heard people sing where I'm like, that doesn't sound like it's coming from you.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's interesting, because sometimes I've heard people sing, and I've been like, wow, that's like interestingly enough, I've heard people sing, and I feel like it sounds like kind of holy. I've also heard people sing, and I'm like, how are you getting that out of you? Like, where's that? That's gotta be
and it's amazing that people can feel that too, that energy from the artist. And I think that's what makes live shows, for me, so much better than just listening to music, because you can kind of feel that energy in the room, whether it's good or bad. It's just that's something extra when you're at a show. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to hold you up for too long.
That was a long set.
But I just want to thank you for your music and for talking with us and everything. What do you have coming up in the near future? You have any? You said that you have a new EP coming out.
Next year. Yeah.
Okay.
My next album is just about done. And
okay, nice.
It's really it's about relationships.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
All right.
Everybody can relate to that. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
unintended.
Yeah, so that'll come out next year, and then for the rest of the year, really touring.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Getting back on
outside
tour.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think your first EP, I just remembered reading about this, was under Jay-Z's label, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actually,
Okay.
this album as well.
It is too.
The one I
Okay,
just
nice.
did.
What label is not Rockefeller? Is it
Yeah,
Rockefeller? Oh my
Rockefeller
God!
Record.
Rock
Yeah.
Nation.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
Rock
impressive.
Nation.
That's a very
Yeah.
impressive.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Very young and already doing crazy things. You've been doing it for a while, but it's very impressive. So
Thank
good on you, and thank you
Yeah.
for talking to us. This has been great. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And like I'm all about like diversity and like the genres and you know people from these different genres that we talk to. And I feel like normally the people who we talk to are you know in the hip hop scene or like you know in the punk scene. So it's really nice to you know have different voices from different genres. And
Very spiritual conversation.
Yeah,
very appreciated. I was like, yeah, I'm really thinking.
Yeah, it's funny because
through.
like you know like with a lot of people when we're talking to them, we're like, yo, what are you doing lately? And they're like, oh, I've been doing this and that, and it never gets like past that first layer. So it's nice to have different types of conversations too.
Yeah,
so I appreciate
absolutely. And I just want to say this last thing is that, you know, a lot of people, as soon as they hear the name Jesus, they're like, oh, I'm not religious. But you have to understand that it's the spirit of Jesus, you know, and like just as much as you don't consider, you know, anxiety to be religious. You don't consider love or peace. Like these things are just simple facts.
Yeah.
And I'm more so encouraging people to recognize the it's not about conforming to a certain like set of rules or like lifestyles of I mean there are things that come with like you don't want to grieve. It's like think of the Holy Spirit as a person, you know what I mean? So you want to be sensitive to how to relate to him, but like it's so much bigger than a religion, and it's a relationship with the spirit. And in a world where you can partner with any spirit.
I like that concept. I really do. That's opened my mind a lot. And I thought about that a lot too. It doesn't have to be, you know, I'm going to church, I'm doing this.
Exactly.
It's not like you can have a faith. I know some people that have so many different kinds of faiths, and you know they might be you know going to church like you know a church like this, or they might be going you know they might be doing multitudes of things. So I think that's really powerful too. It's like you know whatever gets you in tune with that. I think you should you know approach that. Whatever tap into your spirit and your soul, whatever you want to call it. I think that you should you know put emphasis on like taking care of that and nourishing that behavior that allows you to get.
Some people don't even believe that there's like a separation between soul and like body and spirit and all of that.
Yeah.
And
you don't talk to those people. No,
I just don't understand how they, because like I've always known that
it's probably comfortable.
I've always known
like
that I've had a soul.
You know?
Yeah, it is.
Spooky.
Yeah.
To me, it's like I just know. Like you can just tell. So it's interesting to I love having these conversations about all of that because it's like, yeah. Not everybody wants to have these conversations. So
well, it's my honor to share my experience, and you know that's really the big thing behind my music is I want to provoke people to have these conversations and to just normalize it. Like it's not something that's just for your grandma or like everybody should know that you have the ability to make a decision to be in communion with the creator of the universe. You know what I mean? Like in unity with
source. Some people call it source or different things, but I think, you know, it's the same thing in my opinion. So they just call it different things in different cultures.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's so nice talking with you.
It's good to meet you.
Yes,
Thank you for performing. This is a wonderful set.
This is On the Scene with Carissa Des.
I'm Pretty Leon.
And we're here with our special guest,
Trulah.
And we are here at the Alberta Abbey for a live show. And we just watched you perform, heard you perform. You have a beautiful voice. How long have you been making music? Doing music, making music? Sorry.
Yeah. I put out my first little handmade EP my senior year of high school, which was 2016.
Okay.
And then I've been singing like all my life before that, but that was when it was original music.
But you started your career when you were a kid, basically, because you've been doing it for so long.
It's just little seeds, and it's like the Lord kind of grows those things, and it's like, I enjoy this as something you've given me, and I want to use it.
We all have gifts.
In the church? Did you start singing in church? Is that?
I did.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I always, as I was saying before, I always ask artists because, you know, a lot of the real heavy hitters, the big singers that I've known.
Good, beautiful voices.
Voices, the really talented artists that I meet
They started at-
99% of them start.
I think it's because they
somewhere.
started at a young age,
Yeah,
like in
that-
church.
I mean,
I think
yeah.
that's a big part of it too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, 100%. But it's just like I feel like it breeds, like I was something about, singing with soul and, singing with like spirit. It like creates, it creates something inside of an artist that you can't really create otherwise. So I've met a lot of other people who didn't start in church, started young, but they just don't really have like they can't like belt out or it's I think it's something really special about starting in like a place of worship like that. But
When you're in choir, you can sing however loud you want.
yeah.
Like, you
True
scream,
that.
sing, so.
Yeah, that's fun. That's really I was in choir actually, but
Yeah,
that
me
didn't last
too.
long. So,
We
yeah,
got
I can't sing.
3 choir kids over here.
I used to sound like
Ready?
young
5,
Michael
6, 7,
Jackson.
8, 3 part.
Oh God,
I don't remember anything. Don't ask me. Don't test me.
Fourth grade. But,
So are you on tour right now, or doing a small
on
tour, or
Victory small tour just
Okay,
this
little small
week.
tour.
3 cities: Seattle, here, Portland, and San Francisco.
okay?
is this your first tour, or is this?
You've been doing it for
My
a while?
second.
Your second, okay.
And I was just on one in March, and the last 3 cities were those same cities. So it feels cool to be
Oh,
back
cool.
so soon.
Okay, that's fun. Yeah, interesting because y'all are you from the East Coast as well, or?
Originally North Carolina.
North
I live in
Carolina, okay.
Nashville.
Okay, wow.
Okay.
So it's pretty far, but it's like you probably have like a lot of people out here that are vibing with the music or whatever. Is that kind of the idea? It's like you got like people that out here or like that she knows. I'm just like kind of curious because these are I don't know, so far away from home, but it's cool that you have fans out here. Like the people are coming and showing love and stuff like that. So,
Even tonight there were some of the same people that came to those other shows, and I think it's just, I didn't seek this tour out. Victory kind of asked me out of friendship, and I didn't seek the other one either, and so it just seems very intentional.
I
And
would say,
orchestrated in a way to be back so soon.
Oh yeah, I'm not. Yeah, 100%. Like that seems like you're meant to be out here doing this and running into these people and stuff like that. So, is like your goal? Like, what are your goals from an artistic perspective? Like, would you like to be like on your own solo tour at some point, or like what's the ideal situation for you? What's the ideal scenario?
Yeah, I do love the camaraderie and the championing of one another when there's a togetherness.
Yeah, you gotta be here.
Yeah, whether it's like opening or just like, I don't know, conjoined things like that.
Yeah.
But a tour by myself would be cool too.
Yeah.
But I love even how Victory set this one up of like, she set it up as like, this is one show, there's no opener. Like,
yeah.
Like
it's a whole
we're kind
collective.
of, it's like a theme.
That's what it
and
felt
there's-
like too. It
that's
felt
awesome to hear.
very like it felt very uniform. Like everyone was like
Unified,
I didn't really get like this is our opener because a lot of times when there's an opener, like on tours that even I've been on or I've seen, it's like it's very like. That's
Very
separate, yeah.
That's separate. This is not as good. Like like this is clearly the opener. Like I was like, I don't really. Like you're on the same, like very on the same wavelength. You had the full, like y'all both had the same band. Like so, it sounded like phonically really similar. So it was really cool. It was really cool to see like a show set up like that.
Yeah. I have to change the subject. I would like to know, as a woman, have you what is the landscape like navigating the music scene as a woman, like in general? Do you think it's different than if you were a man in the music scene? Do you have like any pushback or anything like that you've noticed?
For me
Is it pretty equal?
personally, I haven't experienced anything, and I don't know if it's just the different arenas or maybe just how I view my perspective in coming with just the same confidence everywhere you go. You don't have to like downplay that or and knowing that in every room I'm in that has been orchestrated and I'm called to be there, and so just being as firm and
being confident, like I'm supposed to be here. Yeah. And something for me, I wasn't as confident, like, or being on stage or like being in front of camera when I was a kid, but now I'm just like, so used to it and just so confident, like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. Like I said I was going to be here. Like, so I don't even get nervous about it. And I think, also when you're in that mindset, you don't really care if people are like talking bad about you, or I just like don't even pay attention. Like if somebody were to be like, oh, look at her over there, whatever, I like it just doesn't even faze me because I'm focused on what I'm doing too.
Yeah, so. And I feel like my music and Victory's too. It's like it's mission minded. Like we're here to serve people with our lyrics and our content. And so when you're on a mission or on assignment, it's like there's this boldness. Yeah, it's not like even like, you know,
you kind of.
Yeah. And so you just got to put it out there, and there's a confidence that comes with that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you're supposed to be here for sure.
I would say the audience was so engaged too. Like even though it was like a smaller crowd and stuff, like I'd say everyone was really like.
They were really engaged. Yeah.
I haven't seen like that kind of engagement, in a long time. Like, like it's clearly everyone was like, either familiar or getting familiar and very comfortable with the familiarity of maybe they already felt like they'd seen it before. I don't know. Sometimes when you see like an artist, like you're just like, oh my goodness, like you're like, I've already seen this. This is what I meant to see. I feel like that was the kind of vibe here. Like everyone was just like very engaged. Nobody was getting up and doing this and that and stuff. So it's pretty cool to see that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is everybody pretty welcoming, like to the different cities you go to as a musician, or, with your religious beliefs and everything? Are people usually pretty like welcoming of that, or is there some people that are like, oh, we're not about that, or?
Yeah. Well, the people not about that, they haven't come up to me and told me that they're not about that. So, they either walked out or
walk up and they're like, I'm not about this.
Came up and
I don't like this. No, thank you.
But I will say, because there's just weight to it and to the words, and especially with me, I value just scripture and quoting. Like so much of my confidence and kind of authority in a room comes from what I'm saying, and when it's not on my own accord, like I'm speaking from a different authority, the word of God. And I feel like that's not up to me, even what it does within people, because I know that it cuts.
You're doing
it goes like truth, and it's like dark and light, and you can just see it really plainly. So I also can't take any of that to heart, because he says, don't even be surprised.
Of course, there's gonna be people that are like
they hate you, but they don't hate you because of you. They hate me. They hated me when I lived on earth. They persecuted.
And it's almost like, they're kind of, there's like a part of them that is being shown also, like,
and in me too, right? It's not like me versus them. It's like I'm as much a human and being convicted too.
They don't like themselves.
They're projecting
their own hate.
Right, but the hope, right, is to not get them to continue looking. We all have darkness inside. We all have sin, but it's to show Christ as glorious and Him as, come to me, all who are weary, come receive your rest. Come that you would thirst and find the living water and thirst no more.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think that music in general really has that power to bring people together. Like I've listened to music that I've never thought that I would listen to or like, but I'm like, okay, there's a message in this. There's like a feeling in this music. Even if it's like a genre that I don't normally listen to, like music just has a way of like bringing communities together. Totally. So much power in that.
Yeah. Sure. There's definitely a lot of responsibility and like, again, a weight to that.
Yeah, definitely. Are you performing in Seattle tomorrow?
San Francisco Friday, so we have an off day tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
So you
travel day, off day.
Are you going to be staying here in Portland for the
night? I think we're gonna start driving and like meet somewhere halfway. And
don't forget to get some donuts before you go.
Okay. Voodoo donuts. I don't know if the
I like them. There's
voodoo donuts.
Rebuke. Oh yeah. You don't want to have the voodoo donuts.
How about the holy donut?
Oh yeah,
that's my favorite donut place.
What team are you?
Honestly, Heavenly Donuts. They're a smaller company, but you see them like making the donuts like when you go to the counter.
Yeah, they're right over here. You're real close to Heavenly.
Their coffee not so great, but Heavenly Donuts sponsor us.
That's right.
But their donuts are like 50 cents.
They're fire.
Yeah, but then you go and they just taste very fresh. But then you go to Voodoo, they're really good, but they're like they're $2.50. They're not as fresh.
Sermon in there.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
There's what?
Propaganda.
Oh yeah, sermon. They're full of propaganda.
See, it seems enticing, right?
They got some interesting flavors too. They got some very ungodly flavors.
Oh yeah, yes. Don't go there. Go to Heavenly
Team
Donuts.
Heavenly. This is not sponsored.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us. It's getting late, but it's been a pleasure to speak with you.
Yeah,
and
thank you for coming.
I hope you come back to Portland soon.
Yeah,
let us know when you do.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks.
It's great to meet you.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Seriously. And this has been On the Scene. I'm Carissa Des.
I'm Freddie Leon.
And we're here with our special guest again, Trulah. And
right.
how can we find you on social media? It's Trulah on Instagram and everything else?
Yep.
Okay.
TRULAH.
Nice.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you for coming to Portland. Have a great night.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. You sound like a pilot.